Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Kinky Christian Podcast. I'm your host, Pat, and along with me again is my co-host and professional assistant and kitten and wife and just my resident therapist and Melissa.
That's a lot of titles.
That's a lot of titles, which is good because it kind of feeds into what we're talking about today, doesn't it?
It does.
So, after some conversations with other people, and actually you posting on one of our YouTube videos, we decided that we would like to tackle the topic of honorifics. So, what is an honorific, you may ask? Well, an honorific is what would you call it, a title or a moniker that we use when speaking to someone. So, if I call someone like sweetheart, my nickname for is babe or whatever, that is an honorific. Doctor, all that it's an honorific. And in the Christian community, we use Lord, our Savior. Those are honorifics. In the BDSM community, we might use sir, we might use master,
Lord.
With her, she is kitten. It's not just she's my kitten as in, my wife she is kitten. And it's not just a name that I call her, it's who she is. It's who she is to me. It is, I don't even know how to describe it.
Well, it came out in therapy.
Yeah, it developed in therapy, but it defines you to me.
Right. So for me, it's more of a significance of who that person is to you.
Right.
So when you could have clearly called me something else, but it didn't.
It wasn't you.
Who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me.
Right.
Who you are to me.
Correct.
So, honorifics are very important in life, but especially in the lifestyle. And through conversations we've had with other people, they don't quite understand the significance of the title.
Well, of other people loosely that are not in
the lifestyle. Correct.
Yeah, they don't understand it. They think that it's, for example, when you call me kitten, they view it as degrading. Or
when I call you my slave.
Or my slave. And when I call you master, people look at me like I have three heads. He's not a master. He's he's a man.
Yeah.
Which, yes, you're a man, but you're also...
Well, last time I checked, I was. You can check later and let me know. You can
later.
verify, yeah.
Thank you, Master. I appreciate that.
Check and make sure all the components are still there and functioning.
Check you for ticks.
Yeah. I'll let you check me for ticks.
Okay, thank you. Now you made me forget what I was saying.
How did I make you forget?
Squirrel?
No, you're talking about how when people hear you call me master.
Oh, so, like...
I'm a man, not a master. And
right, you're my husband.
Which is, people don't have a problem if you say that.
Yeah.
Husband, wife. If I was to go around, if we're at the store and you used to do this, and you'd say husband.
Yes.
Nobody looks twice.
Nope.
But you say master. Now, I understand with master there is some stigmas tied to that, and
Yeah.
I do get that.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to
degrade that.
downplay that.
Downplay it.
So I do understand that, but they also, if you were to in the grocery store, if I were to say, "Kitten, grab that carton," and you were to say, "Yes, sir," they would have a problem with that. You know, it's like almost like anything that shows any kind of submission or dominance over somebody is where the people tend, the people that we've experienced tend to have issues or take issue with the honorifics.
I think it's also more so because of our sexuality and our gender. So if I were to, if the roles
So
were
if I was to call you
reversed,
mistress,
then yeah, I think that would be received a little better. I could be way off base
no,
here,
you're probably right.
but because there's so much stigma around the man holding the woman down
Yeah.
and keeping her
Barefoot
in
and
her
pregnant.
place and barefoot and pregnant and all of those cliches. I think that if it was reversed and I was mistress and you were my tiger or whatever, my slave, I gotta keep it kitty. Then
It wouldn't be quite
I don't
as
think that it would be quite as
shocking
frowned upon.
in this establishment.
So, I mean, like even today in the grocery store, it is so natural for me
Right.
when we speak, master,
Yep.
and when you squished me with that cart,
And
master.
Yeah.
That girl did not blink an eye. I don't know if she didn't catch it. I don't know how she could have not caught it.
No, you said it pretty loud.
But she didn't blink an eye. She didn't react in any way, negative or positive.
Yeah.
She just kept on doing what she was doing.
And it could also be a generational thing.
That's true.
You know, a lot of the younger people tend to play things a lot looser, if that makes sense. You know, they're a lot more carefree, a lot less judgmental than the older generations.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true.
And it makes sense because every generation changes. You know,
Right.
It just keeps going. You know.
As it should.
As it should. You know.
Yeah.
So understanding honorifics is key to understanding the relationship between two people.
Correct.
In my opinion,
Right.
if I'm always calling you honey or sweetheart or you know,
It to me that lessens the power exchange.
what does?
If you were to call me that, meaning that when you use the honorific of kitten and I use the honorific of master, it puts it into a more established power exchange,
Right.
and it just keeps the mindset in the forefront.
Yeah.
And when you change it up and go to not using honorifics, like in the real world, some people can't do 24/7.
Oh, yeah.
So
Definitely.
they would understand that, you know, in the real world, honey,
Yeah. Sweetheart.
babe, sweetheart, and then they go into their dynamic setting, and then that.
See, for me, it's easy though because even in the real world, I could call you kitten and it would be fine. You know.
Clearly, it wasn't fine because it was frowned upon in the establishment that we were in.
Yeah, I get that, but still, kitten I think kitten is much more acceptable
Than
by
master?
most than master.
Probably.
You know, so
Well, I mean, it doesn't help that we were in a room with people who feel that men should not hold any kind of
sway, power,
power
anyone.
over a woman.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah,
I mean, that,
and those are the type of people that don't understand power exchange,
correct. Right.
because it's not that I hold any power over you. It's just we've agreed that this is how we will run our lives.
Correct.
You know, because
It's no disrespect.
no,
There's no
there's
disrespect
nothing.
here.
No.
No.
And if at any time you were to say, you know what, we're going to adjust this, we would go back and revisit it and change how we're going to proceed.
Exactly.
So, and I think people don't quite get that. And so when they hear honorifics of sir or master or, lord or my king, my queen, kitten, baby doll, daddy.
Mommy. Yeah.
So,
I did see in one of the groups that we're in Facebook, it resonated with me because she's from the South. And she's struggling a little bit with what honorific to choose for her dominant partner. Because in the South, it's respectful to call a man sir. And for her, she didn't quite want to use sir because it took away from the meaning in her relationship, first and foremost. And secondly, because when she was interacting with someone, they immediately, right off the bat, were like, you will address me as sir. And she's like,
you haven't earned that yet.
About that.
Yeah.
So I say sir out of respect because that's how I am raised and this is the culture I am in.
Correct.
I am not calling you sir because I am acknowledging you as my dominant.
Right.
There is a difference.
Correct. And that can get confusing.
Yeah. So she was very like, what do I do?
And you also, in that same vein, you have to be careful because in the community, when a submissive is addressing another dominant, another master, you can't disrespect them.
Correct.
But on the same thing, they cannot disrespect you.
Correct.
So there has to be conversation and consent on what is and is not acceptable.
That was one of the things that tripped me up when we were in Kinky College and we were interacting with the vendors. Mm-hmm. And there was the gentleman with the top hat, and I cannot remember which vendor he was.
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
But one, my upbringing from the South, addressing him as sir.
Right.
Two, I know he's a dominant, addressing him as sir.
Right.
Out of respect.
Correct.
Not because he's my sir, but out of respect for who he is.
But he also respected you the entire time he was talking to you.
100%.
He never once tried to assert dominance over you.
Correct. So I wasn't sure, like, by my calling him sir, is that minimizing your place?
The way I kind of look at that is, let's say you married me and I was a doctor. Did. Well, but I was a physician. And you called me doctor.
Yes.
There are other doctors out there, and you call them doctor too.
That is correct.
That doesn't make me any less of a doctor, and I'm still your doctor. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That could be fun.
You want to play doctor? I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Right. Without your stethoscope.
So it doesn't it doesn't demean anything to call another master sir, because that it's a sign of respect for the position
That they hold.
that they hold,
Yeah.
not the relationship you have with them. And you don't really call me sir anyway.
No, I mean I will, yes sir. Or,
Yeah,
most of the
but
time when I'm doing that, it's because I'm being a smarty pants.
right.
But
But yeah, it's so yeah. Anyway, honorifics. So it's not just about a title so much as it is like a position almost. You're not. I don't just call you kitten. You are my kitten.
correct.
Does that make sense? So honorifics also reflect not just like a nickname, or you know it really is who you are to me.
Right.
For instance, before we started the lifestyle, I called you sexy lady.
Correct.
Everything was sexy lady because that's who you were to me. You were my sexy lady.
Crazy crackhead.
So, and some people don't quite understand that it's not just, you know, a title that you have given us. It's who you are.
Right.
So, I think honorifics are very important to power exchange relationships. I don't think for just BDSM, I don't know if they're quite as important. I think it's more important for the power exchange.
And I think also with the honorifics, it has to be organic.
Yeah.
You know,
You can't just
you
force
can't,
it.
yeah. I mean, you can certainly try, but
It-
you'll trip yourself up.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, this whole thing first started, what was your whole thing? What did you tell me, kitten?
I am not calling you master.
How many times did you tell me that, kitten?
I really could not put a number to that.
Right, exactly.
Once was enough.
Yeah, but
That's
you
all it
told
takes for me to stick my foot in my mouth and end up doing it anyway.
you told me over. You said I may call you sir, but I will never call you master.
Yeah. At the time, it seemed incredibly ridiculous to
And
me.
yeah,
It was just, are you kidding me right now?
right,
I understood the position master slave
right.
and the title master slave. I understood that. Didn't have an issue with it.
But the honorific of
But the
master,
honorific of master was like, oh heck no.
yeah,
That's not, no.
yeah.
And yet,
And yet, and yet,
master. Here we are.
here we are. And did I ever once ask you or even mention you calling me master? Ever.
Never, ever. You never requested
To be called
to
anything.
be called anything. It was very, very organic,
Yep.
very fluid, natural.
Yep. Just like kitten.
It just, and as soon as it came out of my mouth,
You regretted it, didn't you?
no,
You're like, he's never going to let me forget this. And
I
you're
mean,
right.
I mean, there's
I will
that.
never let you forget it.
But when it was said and the intention was there,
So the first time you said it, how did you feel?
that was the correct title. That was your honorific.
You never felt, ooh, I shouldn't have said that.
No. No, because if I did, you wouldn't be called master. you know
So-
I'm not going to do something that's not,
Not you.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
So I guess one of the things that I want to caution people on, and you've kind of touched on it already, if someone's trying to force you, if you're submissive and someone's trying to force you, you will call me this and you'll do that. unless it's agreed upon in the relationship, if you, for instance, if you just met someone on FetLife or Facebook or at a munch or whatever, and you'll do this and you'll do that. No,
red flag.
That's
run.
a red flag. Honorifics are, to me, are earned.
Correct.
Any master, any dom, any dominatrix, any mistress will earn that. They can call themselves, like I'm Mistress Rosebud or whatever. And when you go, if you're going to see them on a more of a professional level, then you are agreeing, okay, I will refer to you as who you are. But if you're trying to develop a relationship with someone where it's more a 24/7 or even a weekend thing, or where it's a relationship and you're not seeing them on a professional level, that has to come naturally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, if I don't feel like you're my kitten, I'm not going to call you a kitten. And if you don't feel like I'm your master,
Well,
I'm talking about for relationships now.
Right. You'll be able to tell.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure people understand some red flags and with honorifics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even have like a one-time scene agreed upon.
Yeah.
It's always, always, always about
consent
and communication.
Yep.
And if you're just, hey, we're going to connect at Kinky College, which is coming up in a couple weeks, and do a scene, and you negotiate that's what you're going to do.
It's fine. But that's not a relationship.
That's not a relationship.
Yeah. In a relationship, you don't let people force things upon you, because that is not a power exchange relationship.
No, that's abuse.
That's abuse. So be careful if you're meeting someone and you're trying to develop a relationship and they're already trying to force things on you like that, calling them certain names, that's something they should have to, I don't like saying earn, but you really do. You got to kind of show who you are before you get that respect.
Well, that's part of the vetting process.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is another thing that
we'll talk about on another episode.
Yeah, you need to vet.
Yep. So honorifics are good. Some of them seem a little odd, some of them, and some of them, like, I mean, I do get the stigma with master and slave, and I honestly do get it, and it can be
off-putting
and misunderstood. However, ask questions. Always ask questions. Don't go into things assuming. Go into them curious. Always start with curious and ask questions to find out, why do you call him master or her mistress, or, whatever the thing is. Investigate. I don't know of many people in the lifestyle that would not be open and willing to share. If they're presenting as a power exchange couple, that means they're okay with people seeing what they're presenting. And the vast majority of the ones we've met are very open to discussing that with you. So talk about the honorifics and what they mean, and because they mean something. They're not just a cute little nickname. They're titles, they're the definitions of who the person is to the other person. They're a lot more than just a cute little nickname. Agree?
I agree.
So I think that's all we got to say about honorifics. Probably,
since I didn't take notes.
Well, you watch the episode and take notes on the episode.
My bad.
So until next time, people, stay safe, take care of each other, and God bless.